Happy holidays and welcome to the BeeRPad, everyone. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. With me, as always, is my excellent co-host, my excellent friend, and an excellent man, Marcus Beer.
And with me is the excellent Raymond, because I'm never going to forget that I've been mispronouncing your last name for years and I still can't do it. So I'm just calling you Ray.
That works. That works for me.
The magical Ray. I hope everybody had a wonderful holiday season.
Yeah.
It's not over. Obviously, this is our last show of 2022. Who knows what 2023 will bring?
I certainly do not.
Hopefully, it's good health and prosperity to all, but especially us.
Yes. We are continuing our best of 2022 coverage. If you haven't watched already, please go back and check out our picks for the best movies and best TV shows of the year.
Today's if you haven't watched them, what's keeping you? I mean, come on. Why are you not subscribing? Why are you not following us on Twitter? Why are you not, I don't know, just sharing us? Yes, we're up there. We're up there. We're on the Facebook, the YouTube, and the Twitter.
That reminds me. I tried rather unsuccessfully for about a good 6 months to try to get people to say the Facebook again, like it was originally. Totally failed.
Well, I will call it the Facebook, the Twitter, and the YouTube, just to keep you happy, my old friend.
That's one.
There you go. And I am the only one. There can be only one.
Aha.
All right. So we are going to talk about our favorite games. And it's interesting that we had this discussion in the chat beforehand. And you reminded me of a comment I made not so long ago that 2022 has been, from my perspective, a bit of a shit year when it comes to games. Not really a slew of things that have caught the eye. And I will say I would have stood by that until about, I don't know, the last month or so.
Yeah.
Maybe 6 weeks. I did have, let me see, I had 3 games that were absolutely, these are excellent games and I'm very happy with them. But then December saw 2 games released that kind of like, oh, hello. And then one that people have been raving about for a few months and I finally picked up. I started playing on Games Pass and I'm like, okay, I can see this. I can go for this. So yes, I have a veritable list of I have 6 games that I really enjoyed and are my favorite games of the year. Hello, Mark Griffiths. How are you doing, buddy?
Hello, Mark.
Yeah. So since I've got way more than you, should I go first?
Yes.
Because
kick things off.
I know you've got 4, I've got 6 because I'm a more gamer.
Which is weird because I tend to like things in general more than you do.
Well, that's because you've got lower standards.
Probably, yeah.
But I have consumed more. I mean, thankfully, 1, 2, 4 of the games I'm going to talk about today came through on either Xbox or PC Game Pass. Oh. So I actually purchased 2 of them. And I will talk about one of those games right now, and that is High on Life, which is a new entry that was released, I think, beginning of the month or maybe the end of last month. And it's a shooter, which, I like shooters, and it's a very brightly lit, humorous, rather offensive shooter. Apparently, it's by it's written by the folks who did Rick and Morty. Which I will say, I have tried watching Rick and Morty and it goes, or should it go, because it's just, I don't get that sense of humor, which is, really bizarre considering some of the stuff I find funny. But I know a lot of people do. And that's kind of put me off initially when I started reading about it. And then I thought, you know what, it's on Game Pass and I'm going to download it. And the premise is quite simple. Aliens land on Earth, and basically they kind of stole this from Torchwood, Children of Earth. Humans are used as drugs. humans can get the aliens high. So if you've ever seen Torchwood Children of Earth, which is a great 5-part miniseries, I thoroughly recommend that. But this is, it's that premise, and you have basically become this young person who has to stop the aliens and rescue the planet. And the main selling point is the guns, which is always good in a first-person shooter. I mean, the humor is there, but the guns are organic. All the weapons are organic. You've got a knife that talks to you and insults you. Wow. And has real homicidal tendencies. And then you have various guns as you progress through the game, and they all have their own personalities. And the last time I saw anything like this gun-wise was actually in Cyberpunk. There's a gun that actually talks to you in that, because it's got its own AI and it's becomes sentient. But yeah, this one is exceptionally violent, exceptionally sweary. The only thing I would say that winds me up about it, and thankfully this is something you can turn off or down, is the incessant chatter from the weapons. Because while you're actually in perhaps a set piece, or you're getting you're getting a quest and you have to follow something, some of the hints they give you actually really work. Other than that, they're annoying as fuck. And being able to shut them up. I mean, the only thing I would have added to this game is actually, because you can, like I said, you can turn down their voices. Instead, you should be able to put some duct tape over their mouths, because they're really fucking annoying. But apart from that, the game is fun. It's not too steep a difficulty level. It's like I said, really fun to great to look at, bright, colorful. It kind of it does have that Rick and Morty vibe. And so it's sort of like come out of nowhere. A lot of people were raving about it. I gave it a go, and it's made my top 6.
Was this one of the games that you decided to give a go because a lot of people you respected and liked were into it?
Yeah, basically, I saw a lot of people talking about it, and I thought, what, I'm going to give it a go. Okay. And that is the beauty of it. I mean, when I say I'm talking people I respect, and it's people in the industry who've worked in the industry for a very long time, who generally tend to know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
And there's 2 of those games on this list.
Ah.
That's the first one, and it's it's a thoroughly enjoyable romp. So I thoroughly recommend it, especially as if you've got Xbox Games Pass, it's on that. And it seems Mark Griffiths totally agrees with me. And yeah, like I said, I don't get the Rick and Morty thing. A lot of people do. More power to you. But that's my first pick, and that's obviously down in the lower regions of my selection.
Down in Marcus's lower regions.
Down in my nether regions. What about you, my friend?
I'm going to kick things off. My 4 favorite games of the year are also 4 games that Marcus would never play in his life. Very much so. I think Mark would play all of my picks. My first pick is Pokemon Scarlet. It is kind of a love-hate thing, although as it's been getting patched and updated, the hate has been going away. So this is the first fully open world Pokemon game, and it's very ambitious. They tried to do a lot, and they mostly succeeded. Where they failed is kind of on the technical aspects of the game. There are some graphical glitches. There is a bunch of slowdown. It does show how old the Nintendo Switch hardware is. So, but they knew what they were working with. So maybe that could have been planned for better, but Game Freak is under a really tight schedule. They got to release a new Pokemon game every 4 years. And they've mostly succeeded. The content is wonderful. I love the new Pokemon designs, the new gameplay mechanics. It's everything I loved about Pokemon games, but open world this time, which it can be a little bit overwhelming. They had a pretty clear carrot and stick thing where, you get your 8 badges, you fight the Elite Four, become champion. Yay. But now there's a lot you can do. You can get your badges. You can go after Titans. You can shut down Team Star. And, if you're used to how the previous Pokemon games led you by the hand, this can be overwhelming because you can really go anywhere you can see pretty much, and you might not always be going in the right direction. But thankfully, you can go to any Pokemon Center, and the fine people there are kind enough to point you in the most expedient way to further your quest. So it's another excellent Japanese RPG from the people at Game Freak, full of wonderful creatures. The classic rock, paper, scissors system of Pokemon. It's wonderful game, but with more graphical and technical glitches than you are used to. So that is my first pick.
I have played a Pokemon game.
You have?
Yeah, Pokemon Go.
That doesn't count.
Hey, it's better than no Pokemon game.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I will say, I mean, obviously there'll be some people perhaps thinking that your pick is controversial because of all these glitches. Because, I mean, when it shipped, it was a diabolical mess. But I will say that it's actually the sign of a really good game, that if you can muddle through those initial things while a game, issues while a game finds its feet, and then, they have this commitment to improve it.
Right.
I call it the Cyberpunk syndrome. Because I felt exactly the same way about Cyberpunk. I mean, I played, a lot of people had that issue. I played it on the high-end PC. I had some glitches, not many at all. And it's one of my favorite games of all time. It's definitely in my top 5. So yes, I while perhaps it's not for me,
yes,
I will say that, especially as I'm too tight to actually pay for a Pokemon game, I have no problems with your selection, my friend.
Oh, excellent. And what is in your glass this evening, sir?
Oh, a prebiotic. Yes, to keep my gut health going, because I have a really big gut. So, yes, I got to keep it healthy, apparently. What are you swigging? Please tell me it's alcohol.
It is not, but I could remedy that pretty quickly with this fine bottle of Smoke Wagon. It is a local Las Vegas bourbon that's quite delicious. Those guys do a really good job. Well, not an endorsement, by the way, but if you want to sponsor us.
Yeah, I mean, if we are talking about, I mean, by the way, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 bottles of Scotch back here.
He's going to bust out the Pendragon. Is that what's going on?
This is the Pendarin. This is the Pendarin, and it's a signature one.
Ooh,
it's basically a bourbon cask. Wow. So that's what I love about a good single malt, that if they age them in bourbon, Madeira, sherry casks, port casks, I mean, it just adds to the richness. And again, not sponsored by Pendarin, but God, I would love to be, because most of my booze is Pendarin. But this one, they have the signature range, which is Icons of Wales. And this one is called Hiraeth. And it comes in a very snazzy black case with a golden dragon on it. Nice. And Hiraeth means a longing for home. And I got to say, that is one thing about the Welsh language. It can be so beautiful. So we got words like Hiraeth, which, like I said, means a longing for home. And then we've got Cwtch, which means to cuddle. And Spike, actually, my dog, he knows Welsh. I ask him if he wants a Cwtch, and he comes in. So yes, I have, and I also got a new one that has only just been released for Christmas as well. And that's a new one for me. It's a 5-year single malt from Pendarin. It's part of a new range that's actually been curated by a Scotch distributor here in the US. So I'm looking forward to opening that at some point. I might just wait until it's aged in the bottle to about maybe 25 years. If I make it that long, I'll down it in one.
Let's see it.
All right, let's go with... All right, I'm going to go with... Let's see, what's next? I'm going to go with a game that I did play earlier on this year.
Good hashtag there.
Yes, thank you, Nate. I think that's it. Favorite liquor of 2022. I am going to talk about a game called Nobody Saves the World, which came out earlier this year. It's an indie game. I know High on Life could actually be technically called an indie game, I suppose. I don't know. But yeah, Nobody Saves the World is a very cute top-down scrolling, it's like it looks like an old school Zelda game, but it's very cute, way more attractive, way more playable than a Zelda game. Oh, Nintendo fans are going to come hit me for that. Bring it. No, it's just a fun little RPG. You play this character called Nobody, and you are a nobody. You wake up with amnesia. You don't know what's going on. And basically, you are in this realm and you have to solve all these problems and undertake these quests to, like rescue Nostradamus and a bunch of other things. And the cool thing is that you can actually turn into other things, and each of these things you can turn into get you through certain puzzles. And so you can turn into like a chicken, I think a bull, and just lots of different animals. Or you can turn into another guard or whatever, and it's to get past certain guards, etc., etc. And it's just so much fun. And I remember when I first downloaded it earlier this year, I just sat there playing it, and then I looked at the clock, and I've been playing for 7 hours straight. I was like, why do I need to go to the bathroom so bad? And so, yes, that is a game that's on Games Pass.
Right.
It just caught my eye because I just love the art, and I watched the trailer and I thought, oh, that looks really interesting. So, yeah, that's another one that's on Games Pass. If you have that, download it, give it a play. It's so much fun. And it does have, I think, online co-op, although I don't do that because I don't play with people because I have no friends. No, I'm just too antisocial. So, yes, that's my second choice. Nobody Saves the World. It's got a great sense of humor as well. Great characters.
I did not play that game, but I watched our friend Jose Sanchez stream that game a lot. And I just thought it was absolutely captivating. Some of the level design was just really clever. The way
you need to give it a whirl, my friend. You need to step away from the JRPG quicksand and try a little something outside your comfort zone. It's just beautiful. It's so easy to get into, so simple to pick up, really hard to put down, and really hard to master.
Right.
Getting used to all these all these different shapes and things that you can change into, and just finding the right one at the right time.
Right.
It does feel it feels like an old 16-bit game in a lot of ways, but in a very, very positive way.
Yes, absolutely. So you were just telling me to try things out of my comfort zone. My next pick is very much in my comfort zone. It is Tactics Ogre Reborn, which is a remake of one of my favorite games made by my favorite designer of all time, Mr. Matsuno. So this game originally came out on Super Nintendo. It was remade for PSP, and now it is available on modern platforms. And there's a lot of streamlining. So a lot of the annoying grinding, the random encounters, those aren't there anymore. So for newer gamers, that's appreciated. For people that are used to the old style, maybe they won't like it as much. I liked all the streamlining that went into it. It's just a much smoother experience. Some of the classes have been balanced better, so it kind of did feel new to me because I couldn't exploit some of the old classes the way I used to in the previous games, but it still retains everything I love about this tactical RPG subgenre. It's turn-based strategy. You're playing on a grid. You can think about all the moves you want to make. Have a piece of pizza, drink some soda, and then decide to, okay, I will swing the sword this time. And it's just very thoughtful. Love the art style, love the writing. Matsuno is a big Queen fan, as am I. So a lot of his games have Queen references. One of the subtitles to his games is Tactics Ogre, Let Us Cling Together, which is a Queen song. Not the Tactics Ogre part, the Let Us Cling.
It's one of the lesser-known Queen songs.
Yes.
I can just imagine Freddie Mercury banging out Tactics Ogre. In his other games, some of the chapter titles, he will, use like Somebody to Love is a chapter title for one of his games. Classic song.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a classic game, remade and modernized enough so that I think newer gamers who are curious about tactical RPGs, they can give it a shot and feel comfortable, but it's still old school enough that old fans will definitely love it and find it comfortable. And you have a comment from Mark. Didn't realize it was a Super Nintendo game until he first saw it on PS. Ha ha. There we
These
go.
young whippersnappers. These young whippersnappers who know nothing of our 16-bit roots. Okay, well, following on from that, then.
Yes.
I'm gonna talk to you about a tactical RPG.
What? Yeah, this one surprised me that you were interested in this game. Let's hear it.
Interested? I mean, I bought it. I paid cash money for this because the IP is something that I am obviously a huge fan of.
Right.
And that's what sold me on it. And it's Marvel's Midnight Suns, and it's from Firaxis, and it's great. Now, I am not the biggest turn-based RPG fan. Let's just say that, shall we? I mean, it's right up there with Zelda, or with regards to, Fortnite or JRPGs in general. And I used to love JRPGs, but they just basically became so repetitive. But I was into it because of the, I am a sucker for Marvel, and I'd seen good things. Because I'm old now and on a limited budget, I have decided to really read the reviews before I pre-order anything. So I got it. I played it. I sucked in playing it on PC. Looks really good. Great writing. The hallmark of any game with IP, whether it be Star Wars, Marvel, Star Trek, anything from recognized IP, you have to nail the writing. And they have done with this. And the story is that there's this mythical sorceress called Lilith, who is a total she's basically brought back from the nether worlds, or the nether region, the nether realms rather, not the nether regions. Oh my word.
Was it your nether regions?
Yes. By Hydra. And she is a nasty piece of crap. Now, to combat her, they basically there is a group within the a group of Marvel heroes who are the Midnight Suns, and they include Robbie Reyes as the Ghost Rider. They include Blade, Ilyana Rasputin, who is Colossus' sister. She's magic, and a couple of others. And you battle, you get to battle against her and these minions from Hydra, and then you basically they bring back to life a character called the Hunter, and this is the character, your main character, and you can play as a male hunter, female hunter, customize it, all the fun stuff, which I think is imperative if you're doing an RPG in the 2020s. And you don't give people the freedom to create a character that they want to be physically. Right. Physically, you're not only missing a trick, you're derelict in your duty for making a game, as far as I'm concerned. Because if you're offering anything with multiple choices, multiple paths, etc., it moves from your narrative to people creating their own. And so, yeah, you have these characters, and then Wolverine becomes available. Spider-Man becomes available. A whole slew of other characters that are there. Venom, a really fucked up version of Venom, is one of the first things you fight. And look, I will say this, Mark. Looking at your comment, yeah, I really like the writing. I like the writing. I like the acting. I would say that, that to me can actually paper over a lot of cracks with games, because that's something I'm very much into. For example, let's talk about Marvel's Avengers from Square Enix. That has got some great writing. I've said this so many times in the past. It's just a fucking awful game. And it just has not been able to rescue that particular game. Kamala Khan is great in it. That story of her is absolutely superb. Nate Fitzgerald, there you go. So yeah, look, I really enjoy it. I love learning about new characters. Characters are outside of the mainstream. Yes, I know. Like I said, we got Spider-Man, we got Blade. Robbie Reyes. I mean, I didn't really know much about him until he appeared in Agents of Shield, because Johnny Blaze was my Ghost Rider.
Right.
But I love it. I mean, the cast of characters is such a mix of inclusivity. And I know that will have some people running for the woke police, ding dong, ding dong, ding. But you know what? There's nothing wrong with it. We've got all sorts of characters in there, and that's just so freaking cool. And you can take you play as you're the hunter, but you go off on these different quests, and you can take different people with you, and they've all got their strengths and weaknesses, and it's all card based. And you train and you interact with these people back at the home base, if you will. It's a 24-hour cycle between missions, and it's just really immersive and enjoyable. And the turn-based RPG element does take a lot of getting used to and a lot of practice. For somebody like me, I think somebody like you will probably breeze through it quite quickly, but they will hit you with, all right, this is the main objective, but you're going to have 3 different sub-objectives that if you get them, look at all these bonuses you're going to get, and you can unlock new things, unlock new outfits for your characters with different powers and lots of other things. So yeah, I am really enjoying it. I've not finished it because I've been playing a slew of other games as well. I've got all the balls in the air. But yeah, Midnight Suns, thoroughly recommend. I mean, if you're not, if you're on the fence, maybe wait until it gets on sale, probably early in the new year. But I will not hear a bad word about it.
So one of the things I liked about this game was I thought the voice acting was really great.
Oh, absolutely. Way better than the Square Enix Avengers.
Yeah. The Nico Minoru, who is one of the Midnight Suns, they actually got the actress from the TV show to play her in the game. So I thought that was really cool. Very nice touch there. And the thing, I'm really surprised that you like this game as much as you did because of the combat. I mean, for people who are not familiar with Firaxis's recent work, they did the recent XCOM game, which I consulted on a little bit, and I wasn't sure that a modern audience would be receptive to this style of gameplay, but it did really well. And from what I understand, this game is doing very well too.
Well, it just goes to show that if you can attach a really good IP to something, a really strong IP, it can make all the difference. And like I said, that's why I like the writing. That's why I like the voice acting. I like the characters. The game looks really good. And it's really nice to see these different characters and create your own three-team combo. I mean, that's actually the one issue I have with all these sort of games, is that despite it being 2023 in about 2 days, we're still hamstrung with this 3-hero or 3-player team in so many games, and it's just ridiculous. And everybody's like, oh, well, the processing power isn't strong enough and it gets too confusing. No, it doesn't have to get too confusing. And honestly, are you telling me, considering we're looking at high-end PCs and PS5s and Xbox Series X's and everything else, these are not systems that can handle more than 3 players? Is your gaming, your consumer, your base, the player, are they so stupid that they can't handle a 4 or a 5-player team? I mean, God help. As somebody tries to do a decent version of the Avengers at some point, and you can only control 3 players in the team. It's like, oh yeah, we're going up against Galactus, aren't we? So you know what? I'm only going to take myself and 2 others because that's really going to work. You'll never have a Fantastic Four game. Why? Because we can only do 3 players. The X-Men, we're only going to have 3 X-Men. I mean, it just beggars belief that we're still stuck on this in this day and age, and we really need to give people, especially when you're looking at a tactical turn-based game like this. I should be able, if I've got 6 or 8 characters sitting in my home base, I should be able to take at least 4 or 5 of them, so I can really put a good team together. I can work the combos, and I can cover all my bases. It's very much like a football management sim in a lot of ways, in that you have to get all your bases covered, and being able to have these things, because they don't go in underpowered, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I've got 3 different sets of enemies from Hydra and AIM and Venom and everybody. They're all coming in, you know, one after another after another. I'm like, yeah, it's ridiculous that I can't have you know, 4 or 5 members on the team, and it needs to change. People need to be you know, unafraid of changing that particular paradigm, as far as I'm concerned.
That's not happening, Mark.
Hang on, the final, like, OG Final Fantasy IV?
Yeah,
I probably played it. It was on the Game Boy, or on the Super NES.
Yeah,
I mean, I played all of the Final Fantasy games on Game Boy, Super NES, and PlayStation up to and including Final Fantasy VII. Final Fantasy VII was the last one I played because it was just so much of a grind, and it's such an unfriendly UI. The interface is always unfriendly. You have to hit this button to keep on scrolling, or you hit button, or you're going back to the same place, and it just you know, you have to hit, you know, go one direction. Oh, and the camera angles change, and all of a sudden you're going left, but now the camera angles change, so keep going left, and you end up going back the way you came. I mean, it's just these things that are just feel cheap and dated in this day and age, and that is my problem with JRPGs. I just don't think they have evolved the way they could to become friendlier to people who love RPGs. And you know, you want to look at a game that really evolved beyond its origins RPG wise and really exploded. You look at Fallout 3. And I'm not suggesting that these games become first person, you know, with VATs and everything, but you take on board what everybody else is doing. You see what works, what makes logical sense, and you improve. Because if you don't innovate, you know, people like me just walk away.
And that's absolutely a fair point. Nate brings up a point. I can see the strategies and tactics being massively expanded if you're able to have 5 or 6 people. It may nerf bigger fights. You know, I do think there is an aspect of that, partially narrative, partially gameplay. Like, and it works in, if we use Final Fantasy VII as an example, you know, towards the end of the game, you have like 10 really powerful characters on your ship, but you're only using 4 of them at a time. Like, would it be a much shorter game if all 10 of them attacked Sephiroth at once? Probably.
But you basically either make the battles longer, or you provide some twists on it, on the battle. You go just beyond the basic bog standard boss battle. So it's like, you know, the AI, you know, the enemy AI in these games should be so, you know, smart enough by now to be able to plan and adjust accordingly to take care of people. I mean, I'm not suggesting dropping a 10-person team. That might be a little much even for me. But to be able to drop a 5-person superhero team, or a 5-person Mass Effect team from the Mass Effect trilogy, that would be so cool, because I have all these characters who can complement each other so well. And that's the whole thing about these, especially the superhero IPs. When it's not Midnight Sun, it's Midnight Suns. They are a team. They work together as a team. It's the X-Men or the X-People, but they work in the Danger Room and they work as a team. Captain America and the Avengers, they work as a team. And that's where you get the biggest payoff on these things. And if you can be faithful to that IP, then sky's the limit. Anyway, enough of my ranting. What's next on your list, my friend?
My next pick is a remake of my second favorite game of all time. It is Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion. Did I get it? It's such a long mouthful. So
that's the other thing. These titles, I mean, these are just ways to cheat at Scrabble. I mean, can you imagine if you were a reviewer now, you know, writing a magazine review, or, you know, for those who remember magazines, or a web review? What's your word count? My word count's 8,006. But that was just the title.
Yeah, just repeat the title over and over again.
Final Fantasy Tax Tactics, Unicorn Sephiroth, Big Sword, Mega Remix, Part 6, the YouTube Disco Edition.
Again. So this game originally came out on the PSP, Sony's handheld. So right off the bat, not the biggest
Love a good
in the world.
handheld.
Yeah. But it did have limits, partially because of the platform, partially because there were licensing issues that I don't want to get into. But if you want to look it up, it's not very interesting. So I suggest not looking it up.
Wow, way to pad out your selections here, mate.
But I mean, as a game, it was absolutely perfect for me. The gameplay was a mix of action and RPG elements. You can play it straight through if you want, or you can play it turn-based and pause in between moves if you want. It has materia. It's expanded on the story of the original Final Fantasy VII, which I did not like narratively because I thought it was kind of a little bit wacky and weird. Didn't make too much sense, but things like Crisis Core, the Advent Children movie, really fleshed out the world of Final Fantasy VII, and I came to love it, mainly because of this game, Crisis Core. It's just wonderful blend of gameplay. The soundtrack is one of my favorites. Characters and voice acting were phenomenal. Artwork was brilliant. It's some of the prettiest things I've ever seen in a video game. If I do have one minor complaint, is that the Zach Fair was recast. The original voice actor I thought was fantastic in the PSP version. They have a new guy who does a good job, but it's kind of those are big shoes to fill. When you have a guy that absolutely knocked it out of the park, how do you follow that up? I mean, anything he does won't be as good, and it's not. He's not as good as the original voice actor, and it's not to say that he did a bad job. He did fine. I'm enjoying his work. It's just, it's like you've seen Michael Jordan play. Where do you go from there? And anything else, it's a step down. But that said, it's still a nearly perfect blend of gameplay, music, graphics, storytelling, voice acting. So if you want to learn more about the world of Final Fantasy VII, or you're just looking for a good modern RPG, because a lot of the newer Final Fantasies take cues from the action RPG combat in this game. So, yeah, Marcus isn't convinced, but I'm so happy.
Or if you want to play a proper action RPG, go get Cyberpunk.
There you go.
That's the definitive action RPG for me.
See, I
respect your opinion.
I like swords and sorcery more than sci-fi.
Yeah,
You're the opposite.
Yeah, it's bizarre because I grew up with loving both equally, but I think I tried watching The Witcher Blood Origins on Netflix, and one episode in, and never watching that again, despite the amazing Michelle Yeoh, who has just had a banner year. She's been absolutely superb in everything. I mean, she's always superb, but I'm glad she's getting the recognition she deserves. But horrible show. All right, I'm gonna go with another one, and this one was basically a toss-up for me because I wanted to put a PlayStation game in there, and it came down to two titles. So one is in my list of best, and the other one gets an honorable mention. The honorable mention is Horizon Forbidden West. Horizon Zero Dawn was one of my favorite games on the PS4. Absolutely adored it. This one, just as excellent, but not quite perhaps as new and fresh as perhaps I would have hoped it to be, but still an absolutely excellent PS5 game. So it was just beaten out by God of War Ragnarok. and we had this conversation a couple of weeks ago where I talked about a lot of these games where they do the same thing over and over and over.
Right.
Which, God of War Ragnarok apparently does this. But since I haven't played the other games in the series, I don't know that. So therefore, it's great voice acting, gorgeous to look at. Some, for me, questionable UI gameplay decisions that just make it feel less flowing, if you will. I hate games that take me out of the moment and remind me that, I'm playing a game, not really immersing me, which is why, again, I love Cyberpunk, because that particular game really does have nothing to pull you out unless you're talking about a game-ending glitch. But God of War Ragnarok is a beautiful game. It's very well written, very well acted. The action set pieces, the combat are great. The exploration's great. And it's easily the best PS5 game I've played all year. Admittedly, I've only had the PS5 a year, and I've played, let's see, Miles Morales, Ghost of Tsushima, that was one of my favorite games of last year, by the way. Beautiful game. But then I'm a big fan of Sucker Punch ever since their infamous days. And then obviously Horizon and this one. So yeah, God of War Ragnarok, that makes the top 6 for me. And obviously people have been spooging over it for a while.
And Nate says he's currently playing Forbidden West and love it. As for God of War, the one before this entry didn't keep me interested, so I'll likely pass.
I mean, for me, it literally was a toss-up. I think if I'd have played perhaps the others in the series, I think perhaps some sort of franchise fatigue may have kicked in by now, unless I'm a hardcore fan, but has coming to it as somebody who really hasn't played any of the previous ones. That's what tipped it.
Should I do my honorable mention first before?
Yeah, do your honorable mention.
Yeah, okay. It's also a game that you would not play, so it's kind of a theme. It is Kirby and the Forgotten Land. If you love the Kirby games, the art is, you either find it repulsive or charming as anything in the world.
I remember the Kirby games from the way back, from the times before the internet and before downloadable games or games on little cartridges, unless they were Game Boy cartridges. I remember blowing on cartridges to be able to play these games. I remember Kirby's Dream Land, for God's sake.
Yeah, I mean, it has all the charm of a Kirby game, as you'd expect. It's so cute. But what gets me is the level design. Is some of it is really clever and in an old school way that I don't know that modern gamers really play games like that anymore. It did well, but it's so hard to tell with the Nintendo audience how many of them are, people in our age range buying games versus people that are still in the prime demographic buying games. So I don't know.
I'm no longer in the I've moved out of that prime demographic by 3 years. It's a really strange experience to know that I have, even though I have more disposable income than ever, I am out of their prime demographic. Right. So stupid. But anyway, so all right. So if Kirby is your honorable,
my game of the year for me is Triangle Strategy, which is also
that's not a game. That's a math problem. That's what it is. You're basically trying to learn people around here, aren't you? Welcome to Math with Professor Ray. Today we're talking about the Triangle Strategy. Isn't that something that Phil Jackson invented with the bloody Lakers?
Hey, he did it with the Bulls first. The triangle offense.
Hey, I wasn't living here when they did the Bulls thing.
Fair enough. So it is not the Tex Winter triangle offense that Phil Jackson made famous. It is a tactical RPG in the vein of Tactics Ogre and Final Fantasy Tactics. But it's an all new game. Unlike, I have Crisis Core in there and Tactics Ogre in there, which are remakes or updated versions. This is an all new. What's it
called? Triangle what? I'm Googling it.
Triangle Strategy. You will hate the graphics. I'll tell you that for free.
I'm not a graphics whore. I am not a graphics whore.
Still think
but it is it's for the bloody Switch again. Ugh. Go back off this page. There you go. Images. Let's have a look. Oh, it looks quite pretty, I suppose.
Wow. There you go.
Looks kind of muddy and unwashed, but reminds me of Shining Force.
Yes, absolutely.
This will shock your tits off. I loved Shining Force on the Mega Drive. That's one of my favorite Mega Drives games ever. Love that game.
That is absolutely shocking. Wow.
Loved that game. Loved it. Such a great game, Shining Force. There you go. Ray stunned everybody. I have stunned Ray Padilla.
You have.
Padilla.
So this game was produced by Mr. Asano, who has been my favorite game producer in the last probably 10 years or so. He's worked on the Bravely Default series, another series that I love. The Bravely Default game that came out last year, I spent more than 100 hours on. The Octopath Traveler games, those are another great Nintendo series. And now he has Triangle Strategy in his credits, so produced by him. Mr. Miyakawa was the director, and it's a great story. Gameplay is perfect, has a job system. I love job systems like that. Multiple endings, so depending, the gimmick on this is that when there are major narrative decisions to be made, you talk to your council and you all vote with chips, and you have a triangle system that, it's like practicality, heart, whatever. And that's what drives your decisions. And that's how you can come to 3 endings that are not ideal. They all have some degree of sacrifice, or you can have the golden ending, which is, the ideal solution, or it gets everyone's considerations and tries to make everyone happy. So there are multiple playthroughs in this game. I forgot what my game clock was at, but it was pretty close to maybe 60, 70 hours. I will have to check that again. But I highly recommend it if you like this style of game. This is definitely not for Marcus. He will
It's
never
plastic, by the way. It's my Michael Myers Halloween one. Ooh. Totally plastic. Do not self-harm.
Yes, please do not.
Yeah.
But please, if you're looking for something different, I believe Triangle Strategy is on sale at most retailers now.
What is it with the titles? I mean, you just went through like Bravely Default, Triangle Strategy. I mean, what is it with these titles? I mean, I understand that, they come from the original Japanese, but come on. I mean, crap on a cracker here. Let's, do you think they would actually sell more if it wasn't called Triangle Strategy? If it was just called really quite cute little JRPG type game, it might actually sell a lot more. And I think is this. Hang on, let me see. Who's this from? Is this a Squeenix? It's a fucking Squeenix game, isn't it?
Yeah.
Part
of it is stuff getting lost in translation, and part of it is that they're probably being too respectful to the creators and sticking with something that sounds weird, like Triangle Strategy.
It sounds ridiculous. And look, I've got nothing but respect for anybody who makes a game.
Yeah.
Especially one that, is critically acclaimed, or, is good enough to make your game of the year. But you are doing it a disservice. And I think this is my problem with Square Enix, and always has been my problem, is that they have no backbone for basically evolving their IPs outside of Japan. They know they will sell very well in Japan, and you do respect the creator, but you do also have to be a little bit smarter with your marketing. And this is why Square Enix year in, year out loses money. I mean, this is why I'm glad that they sold off Crystal Dynamics. And I'm hoping that the new Crystal Dynamics as part of Embracer is going to not have to put up with half the bullshit from Square Enix that previous producers have had, and previous game devs have had to do, because They really don't know their ass from their elbow, and it really is quite sad.
They've tried with Just Cause and Tomb Raider. Don't they have a Star Wars? Do they have a Star Wars?
I think the phrase is they mismanaged Just Cause and Tomb Raider. I mean, they had that engine for Tomb Raider 1 that they reused for Avengers and Tomb Raider 2, and it's not a great. It's not very. It tries to be God of. I mean, the similarities with God of War Ragnarok and that those two engines is really uncanny, by the way. But yeah, I have a lot of frustrations with Square Enix. I used to have so much respect for them back in the day when I was, playing these games on a regular basis, especially on my Game Boy. But they have, talking about resting upon one's laurels. I mean, they have rested on their laurels for so long. The laurels have left an imprint on their backsides.
Hey, get this. In the soundtrack, there is actually a Japanese song where the singer does sing the words triangle strategy at the very beginning, and it sounds preposterous hearing it sung. Like it is a silly name just looking at it, but hearing it in a song, it's even sillier. But I still love this game.
They should drop it in a gangster rap.
Come on, Link.
You love it. You love it. So that's good. If you love it, that's good enough for me. And let's talk about everybody else's in a minute. Let me finish off my selections.
Yes.
So I have 2 left because I had a couple more than you. I played more games than you have. I'm a gamer. You're just filthy casual. First one is another indie game. And it's Vampire Survivors. A game that I watched, I looked at the screenshots. I saw people raving, and I saw screenshots of the game, and I went, because this is the sort of game, again, I would have been playing 30 plus years ago on the Super NES, because that's what it looks like, a freaking Super NES game. And it's a it's one of those games that it's the gaming equivalent of an earworm, that tune that gets in your head and it's a very straightforward thing. You just control a character. You have initially 4 characters, 1 character to choose from at the very beginning, and then you can unlock others with money. And as you progress, more and more characters become available as you unlock more achievements. And the whole thing is just to survive. And when you get deaded, you're deaded, but you've unlocked things via achievements, and then things start to go all over again. And it's one of those ones you look at it and you think, Jesus, this is so dull and repetitive. But there is a lot to be said for it. It's not a roguelike, but it's actually a very pick up when now and again and enjoy it kind of game. This would make a great iPad app.
Oh,
to be honest with you, or a great basic Switch game, because obviously it's very old tech. But it's just one of those games that I picked it up, stopped playing it, put it down, come back to it. Oh, just one more 10-minute session, because you have to replenish your energy and etc. And I found a strategy, so I hope I can get my garlic power and then upgrade it, because the garlic power is like you have to survive all these things, but garlic power is like a force shield around you, and the stronger you build it up, like 3 or 4 levels, nothing can get through the shield. It's great. And you just keep on finding, all right, I'll try it. Even though you keep on unlocking new characters, the temptation is, all right, I'm going to get this character unlocked and super powered up, and then I'm going to tackle the next one, because they all have different weapons, bonuses. Some get better XP after a certain while. Some do more damage. Some are faster. Everything about this game screams formulaic, old, non-innovative, unoriginal. Not very nice to look at. I mean, everything about it is wrong, but it works. It is one of those games that you get into, and you will play, like I said, you'll play a 10-minute session or a 20-minute session just to try and last a little bit longer and get your level up And yeah, it just gets under your skin, and in a good way. And so kudos to the dev team. And so I am going to talk to you now about my Lord and Savior, my favorite game of 2023.
Let's hear it.
It's a sequel. It is a sequel of a game that I have been playing since 1995. And Ray probably has a very strong idea of what, actually, I know you know what it is because I sent you the fucking list. It is Football Manager 2023.
Yeah.
This is the game I have spent more time playing since the new one launched back in October, November than any other game. The predecessor, I put so much time into. And if you haven't played Football Manager and you like football, forget FIFA. FIFA is junk food gaming. I am over FIFA. I try playing FIFA every year, and it's just the same bullshit every single time, just a way to sell you more freaking loot boxes. Football Manager is for the hardcore football fan, or Socha, as you like to call it over here. You pick your teams, you manage your teams. So I play as Liverpool, and you buy and sell your players. You set your training regimes. You monitor the under-23s and the under-18s, and you try and promote these players to the squad, to different squads at the right time. You put them up for loan. You have to work within a wage budget. You play the matches. You set the tactics. You set the individual roles within those tactics. I mean, you can go as wide as you want with regards to getting your assistant managers and coaches handling a lot of things for you, like training, team talks, press interviews, lots of various other bits of minutia. Or you can handle everything yourself and get immersed. I have just finished my second season on my first game of Football Manager 2023, and obviously, I mean, we have just completed a treble. Which was League, FA Cup, and Champions League. Because in this game, Darwin Nunez is my player of the season because he clocked up like 40 goals. Because this game doesn't realize he couldn't hit a banjo with hit a cow's ass with a banjo. But yeah, it's just with everything that goes on in my life. And everything that's going on in my life, this is my little escape from everything. It combines two of my favorite passions, which is football and computer games. And it's on Xbox Games Pass for the Xbox and for the PC. It's got such a huge database, so I don't always manage Liverpool. I had a game going last season where I was managing Hertha Berlin, and I was really enjoying it. You can manage any team from around the world practically, and this data, they have the database for it. And it's just one of those games that it obviously sells more than enough to justify yet another one from Sports Interactive.
Right.
But it's my slice of fried gold that I look forward to every single October, November, when I know that, transfer window's closed, they're working on the final updates, it's coming out. I mean, sometimes you'll obviously get a day one patch, and now I know there'll be another update mid-season once the next transfer window closes, and that might tweak my squad a little. But yeah, it's just a game I can lose. It's basically a stat-driven World of Warcraft with really crappy pseudo 3D graphics. I mean, it's not great to look at, but it's got the Champions League license this year, so I get to hear that annoying theme. You get to do press conferences, which are really funny. So yeah, it's just. I'm sure not many people will have it as their favorite game of the year when there's been quite a few really good games, but.
It is your favorite game of the year, and that's
yeah. And you know what? when I'm in in hospital, it's something I can play on my laptop in my hospital bed when I'm getting treatment or whatever. And they also have an iPad version that I can also go when I'm just doing basic radiation or whatever. So it is my gaming rock that I cling to. My hope that while in the game, I'm just finished the 23-24 season. And last year I got up to like 2029 in the last iteration of the game, that I have this, it actually gives me this hope that I will actually get to see how my team pans out in real life, because I'm living this version of them right now. So, and in no version do I sign Cody Gakpo. But having seen him at the World Cup, I'm so happy. But I do actually, I have signed Jude Bellingham every year for the last 3 years. But this is the first year I couldn't sign Erling Haaland because he was off with some other filthy team. But last season, my front three was Mo Salah, Erling Haaland, because I swapped him for Diogo Jota and 60 million. And I signed Kylian Mbappe on a free because he was out of contract.
Right.
And that was my front three, along with Bellingham and Joshua Kimmich in midfield, with Declan Rice on the bench.
Wow.
And that was basically the core of my team for about 6 years in the game. And we won everything in sight. So there you go, FSG. Start the breaking the bank. Sell off that Boston Red Sox. Nobody likes that anyway. Start investing more money in Liverpool.
Now, see, if Football Manager had turn-based combat, that'd be the perfect.
And it was called Orange Square Offense Condrenum. You'd be there right from the get-go.
Yes, the Battle of 4-3-3 or something dumb like that.
Yes, but I mean that's the thing. You can play 4-3-3, but you can play 4-2-3-1, which is my preferred tactic.
Hey,
you can Rich Brown in the house. It's good to see you, my friend. Yeah, it's just you have so many different things. Ray, I'm going to get you to play this bloody game at some point.
I will.
And then once you play it, you will not put it down, and you will never pick up another Square Enix game again.
Football Hooligan, man. I'd play that one too.
There was, I want to say that in the mid-90s, I think there was a PC game that was like a Football Hooligan game that was not very good, but it was, I think there was one released that was rightly trashed. It was absolute garbage. But yeah, Football Manager, that's my game, 2023. And it'll take a lot of usurping, although we do have some good games coming next year. We do have Amazing Spider-Man 2, I think. What else do we have?
We have a lot of stuff that we probably should save for our 2023
I'm just curious.
stuff. Well, for me, I have another Octopath Traveler game. Another great name for you.
Oh, you have Fire Emblem Engage.
Yes.
All right. So let's have a look at what we have. We have Diablo 4, which, hello. I'm down with that.
Yeah.
Starfield, which looks quite interesting. You have Octopath Traveler.
Yes.
The Dead Space remix, Pikmin 4. Let me see what else. I
think there's a new Zelda. The Jedi Survivor.
I wasn't a big fan of the last one.
Really? Huh.
Yeah, I had issues with the last one. It had cheap gameplay mechanics. It was this Metroidvania type thing. And look, every level was basically a reskinned version of the previous level. I mean, they had one type of planet, and they just reskinned it with mud or with snow or with lush greenery or whatever. And that was the problem for me. So yeah, I think Starfield, Diablo 4, Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. That's going to be interesting. That's going to be a really interesting one as far as I'm concerned. We may get Dead Island 2. Apparently that's on the list as well. But I mean, God, wouldn't that be interesting? But yeah, Suicide Squad apparently is Rocksteady's version of the Ubisoft franchise. The one the multiplayer Ubisoft Tom Clancy's Division.
Right.
Division. Yeah, it's very similar to that apparently. Or very in that sort of like that milieu, if you will. But yeah, there's a couple of good ones for next year. I'm looking forward to a couple of those.
And you will hear more about those when we talk about the stuff we're looking forward to in 2023, including games, movies, TV shows. But right now, we want to hear about some of your picks for best game of 2022. Our friend Mark submitted his list in order: Xenoblade Chronicles, Sniper Elite, Elden Ring, which I think we're going to get in trouble for not having on either of our lists.
Why? Why? We're not Elden Ringers.
Yeah.
I mean, look, and it's great that people love it, but it's just not our particular cup of tea. I will say his number 5. I agree with his number 5.
Yeah.
I actually forgot that, and I will say that Marvel Snap is my favorite iPad app of the year. My favorite iPad game of the year. I think it's come out of nowhere. It's really fun. It's actually a game with in-app purchases that really doesn't ping you if you don't buy in-app. I mean, it's like, oh, well, we'd like you to give us some money, but you don't really have to, which for me is a great way of saying, let me give you some money.
Yeah.
So, Marvel Snap is a great game. And I mean, I used to play, was it the Marvel Match 3 game from D3?
Oh, yeah. Oh.
I played that for the longest time, and I've kind of stopped playing it and forgotten all about it because my brain is there. But yeah, I would say that, Marvel Snap is great. Marvel Snap, I mean, you get no issues from me with regards to Marvel Snap. It's really, really good. The rest on the list, Xenoblade. I don't play Xenoblade. Sniper Elite 5, I played. Oh no, I haven't played Sniper Elite. Elden Ring, and not for me. I will scare everybody in saying that I have Death Stranding sitting on my hard drive right now on my PC because it was free. It was free on Christmas Day on the Epic Game Store. And if you have a PC that's capable of playing some games, you need to go to the Epic Game Store more often than not, because they give away games every week. But for Christmas, they give away a game a day, and it was some really good titles on there. But Death Stranding is free, and it's in my library, and I've installed it. And at some point, I will I will kick my lethargy to all things Kojima and give it a go, because, I mean, who doesn't want to be a postman?
Yes.
Indeed.
Now, Nate has a long comment for us. He played a lot of his back catalog. Favorite game this year was Ghost of Tsushima, which, it's a pretty phenomenal game. Death Stranding, not for me. I totally glad you dig it, and I'm glad that Marcus is giving it a shot.
Well, I will give it a shot at some point. I've just got so many now. I've got so many other things. I got to learn to play electric guitar.
Yes,
I got one for Christmas, and I have a Space 1999 Eagle to the model that I have kit that I have to build. And then obviously I've still got a slew of games, but there's a lot going on, and I am back at the oncologist next week for my first tests of 2023 to see if that cancer is still behaving and staying away from everywhere. So I will take everybody's positive thoughts on that one.
Let's send them our good vibes, guys.
I love that. My Siri just said, "I'm sorry." It was like, "I'm sorry. I'm waiting for you to die." Thank you, Nate. But yeah, I think we have a good list there.
Yeah, I'm very happy with our lists. And I was surprised, like you, that so much good stuff came out at the very end of the year, which usually they try to get it out, for holiday sales, but we live in a different world now.
We do. I mean,
distribution and
the reliance on the middleman, the dreaded Walmart reset, which is basically just before Thanksgiving, the Walmart reset that used to hit every year dictated the entire entertainment industry's DVDs, games, records, etc., because Walmart would refuse to take new stock, and then because they were refusing, everybody else was refusing, and so you had to get your games out by mid-November, which was insane. But it does throw one thing to the fore, in my opinion, and I mean, we didn't cover it this year, but I think we should next year, where we actually sit and talk about the Game Awards and why it's stupid that the Game Awards are held in December when you have so many games hitting later in the year now. That the Game Awards should actually be moved to January, so that you can get all the 2023 games in. And I know people say, "Oh, but these people get access to the the games in advance." Not always. These games are not always finished now because the margins are getting closer and closer to launch. Especially with day one patches, you are not getting that proper experience. So it's a little bit corrupted, if you will, with regards to experience. So, it would be interesting to see. And I know we're literally doing that on the last but one day. There's no games coming out tomorrow or today. We are literally leaving it this close, but the Game Awards should be in January. Like any good award show to commemorate last year, it shouldn't be when it is that first week in December. So, yeah.
I very much agree. Now, guys, thanks to
and
everyone
girls
and girls, thanks
and
to everyone
non-binaries
that was watching live. Thank you very much. If you want to share more of your picks in the comments section on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, drop us a line. Let us know what games that you love this year, what games you're looking forward to next year.
I will promise not to laugh.
Oh, man.
Well, we'll try not to laugh. But yes, I mean, we have a very busy next couple of weeks because obviously we've done our wrap up, and because we are absolutely lazy and unoriginal, our first 3 shows of 2023 are going to be movies we're looking forward to, TV shows we're looking forward to, and oh my word, games we're looking forward to, because there is a whole slew of them coming. And I think that's you obviously can't live without our wise words, because we are prophets. We are the Jay and Silent Bob of the video game, movie, pop culture, TV show world. So Snoogans.
Even though Kevin Smith won't retweet us.
Not anymore. Not after you retweeted that I called him a git. You could have banned me for that. He could have blocked me on Twitter for that. But thankfully he didn't. So yes, please do not try and drop me in it with Kevin Smith. Who's literally one of my idols. I've already been blocked by one of my idols on Twitter. John Cusack.
Why?
John Cusack. No reason other than he obviously is using a block list from years ago, where I think it was around the infamous Blowfish time, 2014. And I I realized I wasn't seeing him in my tweets, and apparently somebody, and this is the problem I have, if you're managing your own tweets and using an imported block list, you're a fucking idiot. Because look, be smart about this stuff. Make your own minds up. Just because some ass bandit, and I don't mean that in any other derogatory way, and that it's like a wet bandit or a dick bandit or whatever, some asshole decides, oh, I don't like this person because they said something, and I'm going to share this block list with everybody, thinking I'll be lazy. And I lost a lot of respect for him on that, to be honest with you, which sucks because he's in a couple of my favorite all-time films, including Grosse Pointe Blank. But hey, it's his loss. He doesn't get to see my tweets or this wonderful content, which is a shame because I really like John Cusack. I used to.
Yeah.
Anyway, but
his loss.
His loss. Although, let's face it, the amount of people who will be on Twitter next year will probably be 3. And they'll all be right-wing idiots, and we'll be gone. We'll be off on somewhere else. I am not challenging anybody on the K-12. That sounds like that's like kickboxing or something, isn't it? Are you kidding me? I've got cancer and I had a double heart bypass. Are you trying to kill me? I mean, I am not letting it. Look, cardiac couldn't kill me. Cancer couldn't kill me. I'm not going to let Cusack kill me.
Well, at least Joan is another story.
Oh, John Cusack, she's another baller. I mean, that entire acting family. I mean, even
Yeah,
the other
wonderful.
sister who doesn't really have as many parts as she should. I mean, they're all engrossed by Blank, which is an excellent movie. So, anyway, Better Off Dead. That's what it was. Because I know John Cusack is a very avid kickboxer.
Yes.
Anyway, I think we should wrap it up now. My wife wants to take me to Target.
All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. Happy New Year. Celebrate safe and have a lot of fun. And we will see you in 2023. Take care, everyone.
Blwyddyn newydd dda I pawb, as we say in my homeland.
Yes. I have no idea.
Which is Happy New Year to everybody. So there you go.
And to all, a good night.